Roger and I were on a contract to MGM together back in the middle 50s. He had come over from England, and I was one of the contract players. He and I became immediate buddies, and he starred in a movie with Lana Turner called Diane, and I played one of the foot soldiers in that movie, and taught Roger how to ride a horse. And Roger and I had our work time and our playtime together in Hollywood, and of course we went our separate ways. He went back to England, and I went on to work in MGM movies and quite a few for 20th Century Fox, some television shows like Gunsmoke and Rawhide, McKinsey's Raiders, some of the westerns that were popular in the day. I became interested in putting ideas on paper to learn the screenplay form, and after I did learn and produced a couple of movies, or co-produced, I was down in Louisiana. I was interested in learning more about the Cajun people and how they hunt alligators and make shoes out of them, belts and things that are not legal. So my cover was I was Bob the bartender at a local happy hour, it was called, and my customers essentially were the Cajun guys with their pickup trucks and the guns in the gun rack behind the cab, and very, very closed-mouth bunch. It took me a lot of serving beers and shots to getting nickel tips to Bob the bartender, and I was just getting to the point where these guys were starting to divulge information about how they went after the alligators, how they harvest them, and the process of making and selling their finished product. And I opened the paper one day, and there I saw that Roger Moore was coming into New Orleans to do a portion of his movie, Live and Let Die. So I called Roger at the hotel, and he says, "Oh, Bob, come on down, mate." So I went to New Orleans, and Roger and I had an evening out seeing the sights in New Orleans, and met his director, Guy Hamilton. And it seems the next day, one of the local actors was to play the part of an FBI agent on the streets of New Orleans during a funeral dirge. And this particular actor, when he found out there were going to be 250 extras and a marching band and all that, he just panicked. I don't know if he left town or just refused to do the part or what happened. And the director, Guy Hamilton, just said, "Please, Bob, will you do this?" He says, "It's an important role, though it's a small part, a little vignette in the story." I said, "For you and Roger, of course I will."
Whose funeral is it? Yours.
The casket had no bottom to it. It had two rungs in there. One for me to hang on with my hands, and the back rung I locked my feet over. So they dropped the casket down over me, and I hung on to the rung and hooked my feet over the back rung, and they lifted me up, and I disappeared. I went down the street hanging on underneath the casket. There was some interruption by Mother Nature. We about halfway through the sequence started to rain. So we had to shut everything down and come back the next day and start over again. So my one-day work went into eventually 3. And one of the interesting things about our visit was I was with Roger, and we were on the set, and one of the local television guys and a cameraman came by to interview Roger Moore. And they asked Roger questions, and he answered their questions about the character he was playing and the storyline and so forth. He said, "Oh, by the way, my friend Bob Dix is here. You know, we were together at MGM. He's the son of Richard Dix that made movies through all the years." And so the cameraman swung that camera around. The guy with the microphone said, "Oh, yes, Mr. Dix, welcome to New Orleans." And he started asking me questions. Well, of course, being polite, I answered, and I felt sure this was just being polite, because Roger had introduced me. Well, fade out, fade in, I'm back being Bob the bartender, and we watched the 6 o'clock news with my Cajun buddies. The international news, the national, local comes on, of course, there's Roger. Never expected to see Bob the bartender come on the local television screen. And these guys were looking from the screen to me, to the screen. They wouldn't talk to me. They felt sure I was a spy after that point. And 2 days later, I had to go down the road. And Roger and I are still in touch, but don't have any Cajun buddies. But I got out of the casket all right.